With Spain involved in the footy this evening, what better way to get into the spirit than making some delicious Spanish food? I'm going to be taught how to make paella by Rosanna, who runs her very own cooking classes in her kitchen. She's a pro at Spanish food, so who better to teach me? Now with this dish, is it one where you have to use seafood or could you use anything
No,
different?
you can use anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the technique for making a perfect paella. I've seen people put paella in the ovens, and no. I'm going to teach you the technique for making the perfect paella, and then you can use any ingredients you want.
Fantastic.
Okay, so we turn on the heat. So
a splash of oil in there.
We chop the garlic. Would you like to help me?
Yeah.
Would you like to chop this? If you could chop it into really small pieces. I fry this with the prawns from the seafood mix.
Okay.
Now, this seafood mix, everything is already cooked, but it doesn't hurt to saute them.
Yeah.
Again, with the garlic.
And how long would you have to cook those little bits there for? Is there a certain amount of time or until it's a certain colour or?
This is just until the garlic is browned.
Okay. And that way the flavours can really soak up into them, can't they? Okay.
So what I do now is my easy seafood paella includes red pepper. I use red pepper. You can use any color pepper, and I use this just for color.
Yeah.
The original Valencian, because paella comes from Valencia in the east of Spain. The original recipe, I believe, includes tomato. They fry tomato in with the garlic, but I don't add tomato to mine.
No. That's the thing, when you think of this dish, you do think red, don't you? So whether it's tomatoes or peppers.
So now what we're going to do is, I'm measuring, as I say, this pan is 25 centimeters across. For a pan of that size, you use a mugful, just a standard mugful of rice. Okay. So just put that in.
It's amazing that you don't have to boil the rice.
Well, you do.
Oh, do you? Okay.
If you'd like to stir that, I'm just going to go get the salt.
Yeah.
So after a while, it'll go a bit translucent, and when it gets just a little bit browned, that's when you add the water.
Right, okay. With the dish itself, I've always known it to be pronounced as paella, but that isn't correct, is it?
No, the double L in Spanish is pronounced like the English Y.
Okay.
So it's paella.
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 And then you run it all together. Paella.
Paella.
Paella. Okay, so I'm going to add a teaspoon of sweet paprika.
Yep.
Now, paprika cooks really quickly, so I'm going to put that in. If you could stir that, and I'm going to put in double quantity.
Now, all you have to do is leave that for 30 minutes. Join me later in the programme to learn a bit of local lingo and try out this delicious paella. Or should I say, paella. So while the paella is simmering away for half an hour or so, we're going to be learning a bit of the Spanish language and a bit of history about the dish itself, aren't we? So what do you know then? What can you teach me all about the Spanish language?
Okay, well, before we get into the language, the history of the dish of paella, it was Alejandro Magno, or Alexander the Great, who apparently brought rice in from China into Europe. The locals, people who lived in the countryside, they would take whatever ingredients, they already had the rice, so they would take whatever ingredients they had and then just throw it into the rice to make what was called then, outside of Valencia, Valencian rice.
Okay.
It was only later that it became known as paella.
Now, so we learn a bit of history about the dish itself. Can you teach me some Spanish words, some of the language?
Yes, like what would you like to learn?
Well, we are on the topic of the football thing that's going on in France that we can't say the word for at the moment. Okay. So anything football related might be quite useful for any...
Can we say the word in Spanish?
Yes, yeah, you can say, as long as we can't say that word, the word that I told you about.
And we can't even say that in Spanish. Can we say that word in Spanish? No.
Let's try it. Let's say it in
Sí.
And that's the word that we can't say but in Spanish. So what about the word football?
El fútbol. It's a
the
borrowed
same.
word. Yeah, it used to be called originally ballon-pied.
Ballon-pied.
Yeah, ballon is ball and pied is foot.
Okay.
But then because of grammar, when you put it together, the N on ballon becomes an M.
Right.
Ballon-pied.
Ballon-pied.
So football, ballon-pied. Now it's called el fútbol.
So in Spanish, the word
El
football
fútbol.
is football.
Football.
It's the same in English.
Yes.
Football. Okay.
Football.
What do you think about the football at the moment? You interested in that?
No, I don't follow it.
No. Do you know what? Nor do I. I don't know anything about football. I'm rubbish at football, and yeah, not the biggest fan. After learning a bit of Spanish lingo, it's now time to finish the paella. Add some garden peas and a handful of mussels. Using a spoon, dig a hole in the middle to see if there's any juice at the bottom. If it's dry, then it means it's ready to eat. Add a pinch of salt just to give it that extra kick. Give it a gentle stir. And voila. Tom, our cameraman, thought it was delicious.